New details about the man charged in the murder of UGA nursing student Laken Riley.
This person, Ibarra, was processed for immediate removal, but then released in April 2023 after filing an asylum claim, claiming that they were afraid of returning to Venezuela. Also, keep in mind, that person was in jail for less time than people on a walking tour in January 6th. So we have the military issue, and now we have the illegal immigration issue, which Ginger Snap was talking with me today about this, and comment if you agree with this. I am not a single issue voter. I never have been, but there are closed-handed issues. The immigration issue, the border issue, is just as close-handed to me now as the Second Amendment and abortion. I'd sooner vote for Bernie Sanders if he would seal the border than Nikki Haley if she doesn't.
Yeah.
I'd vote for Karl Marx, Lenin.
Did you clip that?
Yeah. Over someone who just says, I don't know what we'll do with the border. This country ceases to exist. And so last week, this is a story, right? This is in the foreground so you can understand what's happening in the background. Every now and then a human interest story captures the public attention, but this is not uncommon. And it's a really tough pill to swallow when you have a daughter or a son killed by someone who had no business being here anyway. Yeah. It's different. It's very different from life happens to the government failed you in one of their very few legitimate jobs. So 22-year-old Georgia nursing student, if you haven't seen this, was murdered on campus by, you guessed it, what they would call an undocumented worker. I would say illegal human being / asshole.
We begin in Athens, where we're learning new details about the man charged in the murder of UGA nursing student Laken Riley. Fox 5's Kim Leffler has been covering this story for days. Kim, you've confirmed that the suspect was in the country illegally. Good evening.
Good evening.
Intrepid
yes,
reporting.
Jose Antonio Ibarra faces several charges, including malice murder in the death of 22-year-old Laken Riley on the UGA campus. Now, Fox News has confirmed he was in the country illegally. We've also learned his brother was arrested for having a fake green card, which he used to get a very brief job at a dining hall on the UGA campus.
So let me give you the key players here, the victim. And we throw around that term a lot. This is an actual victim. This is someone who was murdered by an illegal alien. Her name is Laken Hope Riley. This person was an active member of her church, a nanny, wanted to become a nurse, had hopes and dreams. Just like your daughter, just like your sister, just like your mom.
Yeah, she was in nursing school.
Yeah. Let's go to the suspect. The suspect was Jose Antonio Ibarra. He was a 26-year-old Venezuelan national. And here's what's really troubling about this. Jose crossed illegally in September 2022 and then was released in the United States, despite the fact that this person was charged in New York City with endangering the well-being of a minor. This person, Ibarra, was processed for immediate removal, but then released in April 2023 after filing an asylum claim, claiming that they were afraid of returning to Venezuela. Also, keep in mind, that person was in jail for less time than people on a walking tour in January 6th.
Exactly. Go back and remember this as we go through this story. New York City, they have him in custody for breaking the law, right? Endangering the welfare of a minor, I think, technically.
In addition to breaking the law, coming here illegally.
This is the second law, at least, that he's broken.
Sure.
They have him. Now, ICE has a policy that they'll put a hold order in place for people like this to be deported immediately. You're an asylum seeker, you break the law, you should be going home, right? Second time you've broken the law. Maybe come to sign the guest book to seek asylum and we'll all be better off. But here's the problem. Sanctuary cities, like New York, typically don't comply with those because they feel like it's beneath them to do that. It's profiling somebody. Okay. Second, they released him so fast that this hold order that was issued didn't get there in time. So this person, they tried to stop him, but bad policies because you want to be nice to people, and bad policies because we can't hold everybody for any extended period of time to make sure that you're not going to go out and commit murder next. That's the policy of New York City.
Yeah.
This is New York's fault.
And it's why I'm not a libertarian. Guess what?
Yeah.
This is a federal issue. You don't get to be a sanctuary city.
No.
I don't give a shit if you're New York or San Francisco. Someone comes here illegally, they commit a crime. If anyone in your city, I don't care if it's your city council, I don't care if it's your local official, if that person is set free, you need to be put in jail. You notice they always only have solutions with the business owners, like, we'll stop employing them. No. Stop releasing criminals. This is not a state issue, and I'm a federalist who believes that most issues are state issues. For example, public education? Of course. You want to talk about a lot of taxes? Yep. Not as it relates to national security. It's not city security exclusively. You release someone in New York, they can go to any other city. This is one of the few legitimate purviews of government. Yeah. Comment below if you agree with that. This is a national issue. This is an actual example of the federal government failing to do their job. It's not even close. And it's another example of the fake victim culture creating real victims. They'll say these people are just coming to seek a better life. By the way, sorry, you don't get asylum just because Venezuela is a shitty country. Okay? Hey, I heard it was great, according to Sean Penn. It was American propaganda that Chavez was one of the greatest leaders of our time. Right? The left loved Venezuela, and now you claim that people get to seek asylum from that country? Crappy country is not a reason to leave. These poor people who are coming, the victim, the poor person, is Laken Hope Riley, not someone who wants free stuff here in the United States. I want to be very, very clear about that. So let's go through this too, and this is one of those things where they'll try and tell you, oh, no, immigrants here actually, it's fear-mongering. They're actually people who, they're law-abiding citizens at a rate higher. Nope, it's not true. We'll make all the references publicly available. It's difficult to find the numbers because it's difficult to actually get the numbers of illegal immigrants on the books. But you do have numbers of border crossings. You do have a record number of illegal immigrants. Think of this phrase. I don't want to get too nerdy with you here. Mm-hmm. Because nothing else should matter. They say, oh, anchor babies. All right. I think we all understand. It's not about that. When you have gang members who are illegal aliens in our prisons, deport them.
Afuera.
Start there. How about this? Can we all agree they say, let's find common ground. If someone says find common ground on the immigration issue, okay, we'll start here. If the answer is not absolutely, you immediately discount that person from the conversation. Okay, not one violent illegal immigrant should be filling our prison systems. The only answer is agreed. If there's any answer other than that, they're an idiot and they don't care about this country. Yep, is it an absolute statement? You can comment if you disagree. So right now we have more illegals. Yes, illegal people crossing than ever before. Trump's highest year, bring up this chart, was 977,000 when we're talking about people. I don't know if these are border interactions or these are people who cross the border. Contrast that with Biden's lowest year was 1.7 million. 7.5 million people under Biden thus far.
Jeez.
Those are just the ones caught.
Yeah.
And there's a year left in the Biden administration.
That's more than Chicago.
Yes, think about that. More than Chicago. You think all of them are dreamers? Don't let them use this. Don't let them use a false. I mean, they're not. I don't even know if it's a straw man. It's a red herring at this point. It's just nothing about it is accurate. Well, what do you want to do? Deport children? Hold on. Criminals who are here. Well, how do you know they're criminals? They're already in our prison system. They've been convicted. Murder, rape. Deport them? Deport them? If the answer is not, of course, absolutely, there can be no common ground on which to start.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know how this process works, but when you're arrested and you are determined to be here illegally, I don't know if they have to notify ICE and then wait for ICE to come back and say if they want to. There is no notifying and waiting for ICE to respond. It's immediately bye-bye.
Yes.
Your asylum claim is it's not even a thing anymore. Yeah. You don't act like it never, see the asylum claim? Gone. Right? Doesn't even exist. Afuera! You're out of the country immediately. Don't wait for ICE to get back to you to say, yeah, hold the guy. It's ICE. You are coming to pick this guy up tomorrow at 5 p.m. He'll be out in leg irons.
I like Malay so much that I just can't imagine telling him this story before you even finish. And then this guy was, afuera? What? Afuera! 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 That's what we need.
That's how he sneezes.
Afuera! Like a dad sneeze. I don't know what happens when you start screaming like, afuera!
Half the government's gone. They have a budget surplus. Great.
So here's another, we've talked about this before, but the left still tries to trot out this sorry old fact. They say, oh, actually, illegal immigrants here, this is just, you're using this to fearmonger. No, they do commit crimes at a disproportionate rate.
Yeah.
Now, the number kind of like the 77 cents on the dollar they use for the feminism, the old feminism trope, which is funny because it tells you how stupid they believe women to be that they actually believe that. So feminists think you're dumb, women. Feminists think you're really dumb, just so you know. They think you actually believe that women make 77 cents on the dollar for the exact same job. That was just average salaries. Didn't take into account time worked. Didn't take into account college degree, experience. The same number they try and throw out, the left, all the time, is they say, actually, immigrants here are more law-abiding than native-born citizens. That includes all legal immigrants, period. Swedish, German, Indian, South African, Japanese, and South Americans. And it includes, of course, all legal immigrants. So it's really tough to get these numbers because turns out it's pretty tough to actually ask illegal immigrants about their status. However, obviously, there's a much higher proportion of illegal immigrants who are Mexican. Now, Mexican immigrants, period, the ones we know about, meaning legal, commit between 3.5 and 5 times as many crimes as the native population.
Wow.
Okay? Significant violent crimes, too, by the way. So you combine that with the stat, and all references are publicly available, link in the description there. Illegal immigrants make up 27% of federal inmates, despite only making up about 9% estimated, we have to go out on an estimate, of the total population. So you say how many people are coming through the Mexican border? Okay, of course we have Chinese nationals. Of course we have no idea who's coming through that border, but a significant percentage of them are Mexican. And of course, if you look at crime rates in Mexico, not the best. Mexican immigrants, 3.5 to 5 times more likely to commit crimes, namely violent crimes, than illegal immigrants, make up 27% of federal inmates, 9% of the population. There you go, myth debunked. Here's the other issue, is there's no way to actually prosecute in many cases. You have illegal immigrants, the court system, they just skip out in the dates. So a lot of illegal immigrants, they have no set court date at all. So from 2021 to 2023, 600,000 illegal immigrants were never issued court dates, assuming that anything would happen anyway because this guy who killed Lakey in Georgia was already caught committing a crime. We have no idea how many of these 600,000 were never issued court dates whatsoever. If they are, about 40% never attend the court dates at all. And by the way, even if they wanted to be a portion of the half or so who attend, the court dates, they're up to 10 years out. Let me give you some examples here. Cases that are backlogged in 2017, 600,000 cases were backlogged. In 2023, 2.1 million cases. So you don't get a court date. If you do, you don't show up. Them's the breaks. And by the way, show up in about 10 years. As for now, just, go enjoy yourself. Try and not break too much stuff.
It's just insane to me how you can be let go into a country for, what are you going to be doing in a decade? Maybe come back to a court date potentially to see if you can stay here. Like, go make a life for yourself. Go have the anchor baby, go do all of these things that will then come back and say, oh, man, we can't kick these guys out, all based on an asylum claim.
Right.
Like, this doesn't make any sense. And Joe Biden talked about this, and he's going to use this. I guarantee you, we called this. They're going to use that border deal that they had that was a border deal that was now it's a national security whatever deal.
It's a Ukraine deal.
It's a Ukraine deal, but they took the border thing out saying this was the best deal that they ever had. It would give the president the authority to shut the border. You mean he can't pick up his pen right now and sign something?
He may not be able to physically pick it up, but yeah.
No, but I mean, somebody else can help him, like hold his hand and sign his name to close the border. And by the way, that wouldn't do anything. Like, they're playing a game, and then they're trying to blame Republicans for going, that's a bad bill. No, I'm not going to sign that. No, I'm not going to give you something that doesn't actually solve the problem and takes the focus off of this thing that will end the country.
Yep.
That's exactly the game that they're playing right now.
And they want you to believe that everything that we have just said is racist. That's their argument. We just went through the court dates. We just went through a system that is broken where people are not prosecuted. They're not convicted. They're overcrowding our prisons. We just went through the statistics on how illegal immigrants commit crimes at a higher disproportion. And what they want to tell you is racist. Guess what? This is going to be a huge component. Remember the secret Trump vote in 2016?
Yeah.
It's even bigger now. You have liberal, white, suburban women now going, okay, I see this. This is a bit of a problem. This is what I would say we kind of stabilize a little bit. you're going to be able to trust the polls less going into the next election. If it's Donald Trump, everyone knows, look, for all of his faults, there is not a person left, right, center who doubts for a second that Donald Trump is the candidate who would be harshest on immigration. Did he do everything he promised he would do? No. No one else is even really promising anything or offering concretes. And let's go to this claim to asylum, because they want you to feel guilty. Asylum is a clear, legally binding term. It's a term meant for people who are suffering specific persecution for their race, their religion, their nationality, maybe their political opinion. If you're in a country where, for example, they jail you because you're a Christian, or you're in a country where they arrest you because you're part of a political opposition group, that's what asylum is. What would not be considered asylum is living in a country that isn't as good as the United States, that doesn't fare as well economically, which, by the way, we're not supposed to say because it's ethnocentrism, but we want to use that excuse. I should say the left wants to use that excuse when people say, hey, we want in the country. All cultures are equal, but so many people want to leave this culture because it's yielded worse results that we have to let them in, even though they have no legitimate claim to asylum. Here's a clip.
Why did you come?
Take money.
Money?
Yes.
For job?
Yes.
There's no job in China.
Maybe, I don't know.
75%.
Wait, he didn't look for a job in China?
Yeah.
He's just, I'll go to the U.S. I could do that.
Hey, I get it. I get it because I still think it's the greatest country in the world. The left says we're no better than the other countries. As a matter of fact, people who run on the platform of the left say that we should be more like the countries that these people left. 75% of immigrants are here solely for economic reasons. And just to be clear, this man who killed Lakey, this Venezuelan national, let's go through Venezuelan refugees, okay? There are plenty of safe countries between Venezuela and the United States. You have Panama, you have Costa Rica, you have Mexico. I know what you're thinking. Those aren't as good as the United States. You're ethnocentric.
But that's not the test. It's the nearest safe country.
Yep.
They're a lot closer to Venezuela than we are.
Exactly.
There's no reason.
Yeah, and Mexico is a nation where firearms are illegal. So
Totally
by
safe.
leftist theory, they should be super safe there.
Yes.
In fact, more safe in Mexico than they are here.
Yes, I agree.
I think so.
Mexico City, have you been there?
Safest place on the planet.
It's like Singapore.
Super safe, no guns.
Like Singapore with people shaped like bumblebees. Now,
Watch out for the bridges, though. There's bodies hanging from them.
it is true.
Well, it's just wind chimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go, aye! Aye! All right.
Hey, aren't there a handful of states here that want to let these people vote?
Yes.
We covered that last week.
Yes,
I
of
think,
course.
right?
There are a bunch of states, and of course, the Democratic National Committee wants them all to vote.
Right. That's a whole.
Yes, it's buying
that's
a voting
the size
block.
of DFW.
It's buying a voting block. And by the way, notice that the left ignores Cuban Americans always.
Yeah.
Always. Hey, they have a legitimate claim to asylum.
Yeah.
You're talking about people who were being arrested for playing a saxophone. Yeah. And I know you like, because you like to wear their stupid, shitty little Che Guevara shirt, which is, by the way, why we have that shirt at CrowderShop.com. Mm-hmm. And we have the YouTube dump button, the socialism shirt that was no longer allowed. You can go and purchase it. You might as well wear a shirt of Hitler. They always ignore Cuban Americans who have faced actual persecution simply for political opinions, or, by the way, sometimes religious practices, because communism is a distinctly atheist idea. Why aren't we talking about Cuban? Oh, that's right, because they don't buy what you're selling.
Right.
They don't vote for you. Let me give you some more examples, just so you see these very clearly. The stats matter, but a personal touch is necessary. Here's another person. Elizabeth Medina was 16 years old, was stalked and murdered by a 23-year-old illegal, Rafael Govea Romero. Kayla Hamilton was 20 years old, murdered by a 17-year-old El Salvadorian MS-13 gang member. This person entered illegally as an unaccompanied minor and was released close to Maryland. So the stats are, well, the stats are tough to come by because the left doesn't want you to know the stats. It's kind of the sniff test. Do you think people who are breaking the law to get here into this country are more likely to be law-abiding? And do you think that countries like Venezuela or Honduras, Mexico, do you actually believe that these are countries of law and order in comparison to the United States? If you believe both of those, then you would believe the left when they say there's no problem. Or you see the murders taking place at the hands of people who have no business being here in the first place, and you say, all right, it's time to do something about this. And that's not the only reason. There are economic reasons. There are reasons that, as it relates to our social safety nets here, that cannot sustain themselves. with people who are not paying in? There are many, many, many reasons. But you know what? Let's start off with there can be no common ground. We are not going to get to whether these people deserve a path to citizenship, whether the children, through no fault of their own, deserve some kind of a citizenship just because their parents came here illegally. We are not going to get to any of those issues if we cannot agree on deporting violent felons who are here illegally. That is the platform of the DNC, period. Full stop. It always has been. Don't bullshit me with common ground. People say, what's the solution? I don't have the full solution, but I bring you tidings of great joy. MS-13, right there at Folsom Prison, afuera. Afuera. Start with that.
Yeah. Well, look, we said see what they say in their own words why they're coming here for economic gain for the money. But here's one of the other reasons.
Oh yes.
Love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything, Joe Biden. I'm a good person. I want to be a good person here in the United States.
And vote for you again.
I want quality life. You know, America is a land of opportunity.
Thank you, Joe Biden. Huh.
And of course, for those of you who forget the basically quote, that was someone saying, are you coming because of Joe Biden? Basically. So these are all preventable murders.
Basically.
Blood is on the government's hands. And luckily, though, these monsters, if they're legal here, will spend the rest of their life behind bars, but not if they're unfortunately here illegally.
Hey,
Watch Ladder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.